Happy Friday, everybody.
Was Buddy Rich one of your contemporaries?
Buddy Rich?
Yeah.
No, he's a little bit older than me, kind of like you. What? What's with the Buddy Rich
you're
reference?
such a drummer. You're
such a... Oh! Well, no, it was actually...
that was his name, right? He was a great drummer.
Buddy Rich was a drummer, yeah. My drumming hero is Gene Krupa.
He used to be always on the Johnny Carson show.
And John Bonham.
Yeah. Okay, let's play the drums for the cruise, and I'll...
No, we're not doing that. We're going to talk about cannabis today, and yes, we're a little bit, depressed because, all of our stocks are down.
How do you feel you wake up in Calgary today, and you read the front page, and it says, Canna, which is one of Canada's biggest energy companies, is pulling up shop.
Moving to Houston.
Is it Houston where they're going?
Well, where else is a Canadian energy going to be?
Could be
Denver,
Dallas, Fort.
Houston's the Mecca.
No, you're right.
Houston's the Mecca. I remember for a while there, back in the heyday, there were daily flights multiple times per day between Calgary and Houston. I used to think, why the fuck? And I'd be like, duh, oil industry.
Yeah. And maybe Oklahoma. Maybe there's some places in Oklahoma, but they don't have the big. Houston, I think, is like number 4 or 5 now in the 4th, 5 or 6 in terms of size in the United States.
Oh, the size of city, yeah, that could be.
Probably next to Chicago or Atlanta, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I talked to my buddy Dave Townsend, who resides in Calgary, and it's not good for the Calgarians.
Well, all of Alberta has been in a state of recession, thanks to the downturn in the oil price, and so to have this is like a slap in the face when you're down kind of move.
Yeah, like when they got the boot on your neck,
right,
and then they kick you in the head with the other foot, while they're standing on your neck.
Right.
I don't know. You know what? It's brutal, but the people in Ottawa, I guess, are they probably don't understand the energy business like they think they do.
Yes, this is true.
Maybe you know what? Look, the Saudis are even selling off a piece of their business because maybe they see the writing on the wall.
Maybe.
Anyway,
we're going to look at the cannabis industry right now, just to
let's see if there's anything breaking trend here.
Okay, if the market's up, we don't drink. If the market's down, we drink. Let's see. Survey says, you know what? Probably the audience at home wants to participate in this little exercise, so I'm going to do everybody a favor and turn on my NDI.
Okay.
Here it is, everybody. At a glance, the cannabis space. Actually, this is not so very bad. Let's go to, hold on here. View, full screen.
You know what I like about your setup with those indices is that at a glance you can click on them, find out where the action is.
Yeah.
And if there's any anomalies,
yeah,
they're easily
visible.
They just
jump out.
They jump out at you.
They club you in the head.
They club you with a spade. With a spade
from Calgary.
Because their heart's pounding and they were looking for diamonds. Get it? Clubs, spades, hearts, diamonds.
Whoa.
Now we're playing cards.
Jesus. This is just moving too quickly for me.
Okay.
All right.
Amazing when you're sober, eh?
Is this sober October? No, it's sober November. Or are you
November? You're going to grow mustaches? Let's grow mustaches. That's what they do.
Mustaches.
Yeah.
I'd rather grow a merkin.
You probably can't.
What do you mean I can't?
Because you're so fair haired and you got.
No. You'd be surprised.
Peach fuzz.
Peach fuzz, my ass. Oh, too.
There's some peach fuzz. There's some peach fuzz,
I'd
but
rather grow a merkin, though.
Looks a little brown. I mean,
Jesus.
Stop it! Stop it!
Okay, right out of the chute, we're bringing the intellectual down of the capital markets to where it belongs to be, in the gutter and full of shit. Anyways, the Midas Letter Large Cap Index is off just slightly, 0.97%. The Midas Letter Small Cap Composite Index is actually up 0.29%.
Okay.
But that's just like the bleeding has slowed to a trickle for a moment while the heart takes another beat. The CSE index is 1.94% to the downside.
Right.
So again, most of the blood coming from the US issuers. And then our Canadian Venture Index, 0.19% to the good. So this is kind of interesting in that we have two indexes that are like just a tad higher. And then the large caps down almost a full percent, and the CSE index, which really is our index of US issuers, MSOs, down 2%. Why are the US issuers down so fully? Well, do you think it has anything to do with that Cresco Select revaluation? Did you see that, Ed? Did you see that, Ed? Did you see that?
I did not see that, Ed.
No.
I did not see that, Ed.
You did not see that Ed start that they gave that guy?
Did you see that, Ed?
Did you see that, Ed? Boy, we're going to turn this into a rap show.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. Let's see here. What do we got here?
What I want to point out to viewers too, and you know we've been in a major decline in this cannabis space, but if you notice the last month or so, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the drop is not on the same slope. It's flattening out a bit. Like
the angle of attack has diminished.
Well, it's slowing down, but it's still relentless. It's just that it probably says there's probably some more people thinking, well, there's pools of money out there run by smart people, and as the price comes down, people will say, well, we may be getting close to some value.
Inertia has run its course.
It can only go so low, and then if there's a business there, it's got to stop going down, and it's got to reflect the business activity.
Risk at a reasonable price. Anyways, some things are coming up today. We have a very interesting gentleman here who's been here before. His name is Deepwal Klaus. And Deepwal is the CEO and founder of CannaMarks. CannaMarks is I'm not going to say the eBay of
the cannabis industry. Or CannaMarks?
CannaMarks. He's not the eBay of the cannabis industry, but this is the auction platform where you can trade large lots of dried cannabis, extracts, and other biomass. So this guy, if you want to hear which direction the price of cannabis is going, this is the guy who can tell you, because he's buying and selling on behalf of LPs around the world, which is really interesting. So that's coming up. Bruce Campbell is going to be here for the weekly StoneCastle Cannabis update. And as usual, Bruce has some very insightful points to make. And let's see, James and Ed. Well, look, we're here again. Astounding.
That's one thing that will always be true. You're always right here. No matter where you are, you're always right here.
Not when I'm not here.
Well, where are you then?
Not here.
You're there.
Not necessarily.
Yes, you are.
No.
You got to be somewhere.
No, I don't.
And that somewhere is here to you.
I've been nowhere before.
Not to me, to you.
Look here, young fella. I've been
your
nowhere.
Show. I know it's your show.
And I know what nowhere is about.
Nowhere.
Yeah, nowhere.
That's not.
You've never
it's
been
not
nowhere?
Nowhere. It's now here.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
No, that's the way to look at it. Well, so everybody's going, I'm nowhere. No, you're now here. What are you talking about?
Clearly, there's no arguing with Ed here today.
Not today, because Ed's on a roll.
Ed's on a roll.
Tootsie Roll.
Want to shut a bit?
He's on a Tootsie Roll of adrenaline and heroin.
All right, heroin. Whoa.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
CSE, high traders today. The pump, which is the world-class extracts, symbol pump, is traded 3.4 million shares today, trading at 7 cents, no change. KWG, the names of these companies are not present on the CSE table, so we're just going to skip over them because we don't know who they are. BE, I know, is Beware. FAT, who's FAT? FAT is where it's at.
BE isn't.
Beware.
It is?
Or no, Believe. BW is Beware.
Jesus.
Beware. Pull up a chart on that. Whatever happened to that
You
deal?
sound so convincing. If people listen to you, you better make sure.
This is the voice of reason.
You better make sure you got your.
If I say it's snowing and it's raining,
your GPS on. That's all I got to tell you. If James is giving
the essence of evangelism, is if the guy tells you it's snowing and you look outside and say it's raining. If you're faithful, you agree that it's snowing. If you're rational, you look outside and say, screw you, it's raining. And that's the essence of promotion. If I tell you it's snowing and you look outside, it's raining, I say, no, it's snowing.
And you
say what? Okay, it's snowing. It's the
just make sure you tell me when to sell. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll tell you when to sell. You still own that shit? Should I sell now? You still own that shit? Anyway.
When does broker tell you to sell?
When it's getting close to the end of the month, and he's looking at his commissions, and he says, "No,
you're apologizing.
I don't want to give away my previous secrets."
Investment advisory business is on the ropes, wouldn't you say? There are currently 50 million self-directed investors in the United States. 20 million of them buy newsletters, and those numbers are going up. A guess at which industry segment's expense? Investment advisors and institutional wealth advisors.
You know what? If you really want to look at what's happening in the world, all the services that are being provided are now being cut down in price by the internet. Like, for instance, like the Airbnb affecting the hotel industry.
Right.
Uber and Lyft affecting taxis. I mean, you start thinking about the implications. Like the growth in ridership for Uber. Nothing has grown that fast. It's gone from like nothing to billions of rides every year. Every billion rides a month.
Yet, nonetheless,
I know they're still losing money.
They are said to be unprofitable, which obviously they are, and many analysts agree that it will never be profitable.
Well,
And actually, our position on Uber has been since day one, back in 2013, and I know that right now you can say that I was wrong, but we said back then, Uber is doomed for investors as an investment. Yeah, you can make money trading the stock.
Do you see how much money the original investors have made on Uber? It's staggering.
Yeah. But the point is that in terms of catching a taxi, have you noticed that the quality of Uber cars is going down?
Just to change gears a little bit here, shifting gears, car, get it? Ha, ha, ha.
Very clever.
At the end of the day, I forgot.
All right, I'll pick it up for you.
I know what I want to say. They're saying the IPO.
There's a new tractor sharing.
The IPO track record in the last year or so has been abysmal. That's what they're saying. They're saying, to your point, it's hard to make money because the greedy whatever you want to call them, those guys that get in early, the big money.
Us.
Yeah. Us, yeah. Big money.
Big money.
I'm talking
smart
big money. Big money.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that I was going to, start work on a book that basically explains my alternative reality. Not the reality that is projected by universities and news sources, but just the one I operate in.
I thought you were going to say projected by the universe.
Well, I wouldn't presume to say that my reality is projected by anything except my own delusions and stupidity.
Your delusions.
However, I want to write the book because then I think that people can say clearly that, this is where I stand on the matter, and they can correct me in my delusion. Not that I think anybody cares enough about me to correct, except my mother and the several other entities in my universe, but I think that would be a good exercise.
You do?
Yeah. Just to see how far down the rabbit hole you've actually gone. Anyways, there's lots of magic mushroom deals happening. We were going to have Craig.
Are there a lot happening?
There's 3. But the way these fads start, first there's 1, then there's 2, then there's 3, then there's 400. Then the market crashes and the bubble pops and the recession starts, and 4 years later there's a new bubble.
Let's say the mushrooms go legal. Then what? What's next?
Well, there's going to be a lot less psychotic individuals around. What's next? Well, really, look at the Portuguese model.
Has Portugal legalized pretty well everything?
Decriminalized everything and taken all the money that went into the enforcement of the laws that made it criminal and put it into education and outreach and health. And
sounds like a very, very
advanced society?
An altruistic society. Like thinking, hey, wait a minute here. Maybe we got some people that are born, and just maybe some of their screws are loose, and we need to help them.
Right.
Hey, pick me.
Our mutual friend David Stadnick has a very simple philosophy, which I fully subscribe to, and he says, hey, we're all so fucking stupid. Why don't we just help each other instead of competing with each other?
We're all just stupid people.
Just stupid people.
You know what? And everyone thinks that we're so.
And then Shannon Hoon from,
special.
what was that company? Blind Melon Company. Band, Blind Melon. Don't understand why I sleep all day. I can't help it.
Oh, yeah. That was that song? That was that song?
That was Shannon Hoon, Blind Melon. And he used to say that, or I think it's a line in one of their songs, that people are just children grown old and they die as older children or something like that. Anyways, I can't remember.
You know, people that are
We're just a bunch of kids,
that
basically.
are very knowledgeable about evolution, et cetera, say we're still cave people in a digital world.
We've just learned a language.
And the language...
Probably some Martian just left a device on the side of the planet when they parked down here for gas up or something.
My favorite line by Nietzsche, how do you say that? Nietzsche?
Friedrich Nietzsche?
He says that words are just approximations. They can never tell the absolute truth. So when you're asking, what did he say? What did he say? What's the point?
Well, that's funny. I agree with him. I would go so far as to say that words are exclusionary, such that as soon as you wrap something in a word, the chances of you understanding its entire essence are diminished. And
I agree with that. That is
profundity.
Well,
profundity 101.
Explain this in a few sentences.
Did you ever read any Nietzsche?
Itchy?
Itchy. Clearly you did.
Scratch my back.
Your back. I'll scratch.
He's considered one of the foremost philosophers of our day, right?
I thought he was a writer. I know that's only funny to me. I apologize. Actually, I take it back.
Did you ever see a picture of him?
Who?
With the mustache and the crazy look in his eyes?
Was he a wingnut?
I think everybody is.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a matter of degree.
You know, I think if I didn't need money, I'd be a wingnut.
Maybe you're masking your nuttiness.
Wingnutness.
My
wingnut.
You got any wingnuts?
No.
I got nuts, but not
I changed my dog's names.
Nope.
Which hasn't changed anything in their perception.
They still don't come to you.
No, they do. These dogs. Are you kidding?
Because of food.
No, I beat them every morning. One's called Wingnut now, and the other one's called Dingbat. Wingnut and Dingbat.
Did you really change the?
Yeah. Wingnut, dingbat, wingnut, dingbat, wingnut, dingbat, wingnut, dingbat. That's their names now. Wingnut and dingbat.
Yeah. Maybe we should change the show to hosted by Wingnut and Dingbat.
Well, that's already. I named them after us. Duh. Let's see.
All right.
Let's have a chat with our old friend Deepwal Klaus is here. Deepwal Klaus joins me now. He's the CEO and founder of Cannamerx. Deepwal, welcome back.
Yes, thank you. Pleasure to be here again.
Deepwal, I look at the email that I get from your company and I think to myself, there is the future of the cannabis industry. Tell us, give us an overview of what Cannamerx does, just for those who haven't heard about the company before.
Cannamerx is a trading platform for commodity level cannabis and hemp extracts. Fundamentally, think about it. We help you trade the raw material, the green stuff, and the stuff that can be used as ingredients, the extracts, the isolates, whether it's the oil, whether it is the distillate or the isolate. You can put them on the platform and people can bid on it. So it's not like the stock market where you have a bid and ask process. It is the people who have product available put on the platform. If there's no product available, people can ask us to ask our participants who has something available. This way we ask them, people are looking for this kind of product, put it on, see if it sells, because it may not be the right price. And what stops a deal, what stops from something selling is it's not the right product, it's not the right time, it's not the right price. But if it is the right price and the right time and the right product, people will bid on it and buy it. So whoever makes the best offer gets the product.
Okay, so it's only licensed producer to licensed producer currently?
Yes, if you're not licensed by Health Canada to trade in the products that you want to trade in, you can't do it.
So you have to get a specific license to trade?
No. You have to be a licensed producer, you have to be a licensed processor, you have to be a microgrow, for example. You simply have to have a license from Health Canada to be authorized to possess the kind of products that are traded on the platform.
Sure. And so the thing I love about your platform is that it gives you a chance to observe how the market will evolve.
Yes.
And so one of the questions that I've always been thinking, the next time I see Deepwal, I'm going to ask him is, does the industry or does the transactions that happen on your platform, is there a very high sensitivity to the quality of the product? And when I say quality, I don't just mean THC and CBD content, but also terpene profile, flavor profile, burning profile. Like, are all those considerations brought to bear on a sale, or do people more or less just take a commodity approach to it and say, well, it's got this quantity of THC and CBD, that's what I'm after?
It depends on the product. It depends what you want to do with it. If you simply want to extract, you simply look for a reasonably priced, reasonably high cannabinoid content product that makes sense for you to buy, so you buy that. If you want to sell a nice bud, something that is beautiful, that appeals to the consumer, and you buy it for that, then you look at these factors. And the platform allows you to make the decisions on any factor that you choose. You can do it just by the overview. Yes, it has the right cannabinoid profile, it has the right price, it's a good volume, that makes sense. It has no pesticide, it has no micro contamination or other contamination. It's a fine product. I can put it through my extractor and have a good output. That's fine too. So it really depends on what it is you're looking for, what it is you're selling. The platform is very flexible in that way. We may have very few preconceptions about what people want to trade in. We simply facilitate the trade that the industry wants to engage in.
Okay. So I can ask you with full confidence that your answer is the authority. What is the average selling price per kilogram, let's call it, of CBD isolate?
It depends.
Okay, so that's like how long is a piece of string?
It's for example, in Canada, CBD isolate is extraordinarily expensive compared to the United States. Why? Because there's a very little supply. Basically, there's no imports into Canada of significant commercial quantities or any quantities that would alleviate the price difference. So the US market is different from the Canadian market, it's different from the European market, and you can see all the price developments in all these markets on the platform, but you're limited to what you can do based on your license and based on the license of the counterparty.
So you can't import cannabis from the United States, for example?
No.
And the United States can't import cannabis from Canada?
Correct.
So these barriers are kind of like an anomaly in the global trade of products.
Yes.
Everything else can cross borders.
Correct.
And in fact, that's what a free trade market means, is everything
Correct.
crosses borders. So are these price discrepancies a temporary phenomenon?
What's temporary?
Well, like
next week? No, they will be here next week. Next year. A lot depends on basically if the United States would decriminalize or even legalize cannabis. That would at least change things within the United States. Because you think about national borders, if you were active in the United States, you're limited within the state. And that is why you have an oversupply in Oregon and you have scarcity in New York State. I'm not sure if they have scarcity there, I'm just making up. If they were federally legalized, then these balances, these imbalances could be evened out, and a platform like Cannamerx would be very helpful in evening this out. Right now, if we were to trade in the United States, we would be limited for cannabis on a state-to-state level, for hemp, of course, because it is federally legal. We can do interstate transactions, and there
See? We freeze for 2 seconds and deals are being made. That's the kind of place this is. Out of the room, out of the deal. You were out of the room. Sorry, you're out. No, just kidding. Where were we? So Deepwal froze on us, so we're going to have to rerun that interview.
Must be a... Where did you shoot that today? The North Pole?
No.
We shot it. Froze.
Okay. So today's the 1st of November, right?
So there's 2 things you got to do.
Okay.
Grow a mustache.
No.
Movember.
Movember. Do you know who started Movember?
Hockey players.
No. Craig Shapiro.
Craig?
Yeah.
Who's that?
I mean, Todd Shapiro. Craig Shapiro.
I don't even know Craig.
I know a Craig Shapiro. That's why I screwed it up. But Todd Shapiro, our very own friend, and Todd Shapiro, Cannabis Talks, Sirius XM 167. Anyways, he invented Movember.
Okay.
Coined the term and everything.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on record. It's a matter of the public record.
It's a matter of the public record.
How about that?
Holy smokes.
Yeah, registered.
Okay.
Verified.
So we take a look at some charts.
What for?
I don't know.
Are you bored already? Okay, let's look at some cannabis charts. Why don't we take, let's see. What's the big one today? Let's actually...
Should we look at weed?
Yeah, well, let's start with weed. You do that, and I'll go find us something interesting to look at from among all the...
Well, I think we got to look at the S&P because the S&P is shot up, but
shot up like drive-by.
Like shut up, like
shut up,
shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up,
shut up, shutting up. Anyways, okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to go to the index page.
Yeah, I saw it earlier under 26, and right now, well, right here, 29.06. We may, let's put a little lipstick on this.
Pig?
Well, no, we don't want to say that.
Well, what is that? You just tricked me.
Yeah, I did. You said it, not me.
Anyways, so weed.
Look at this. There's a channel there. What channel? Certainly not global. Anyway, this thing is starting to flatten out here a bit. Flatten out. I don't think it's going to go anywhere in a big way unless the numbers start to improve. But I think the rate of depreciation here, the rate of correction, if you will, is mitigating.
Yeah. Well, Canopy has their next financials coming out in November.
Yeah. And I see. I look at Kronos, $11. That was $33.
I know. Do you think it's still overvalued?
I'm telling you, companies with lots of cash and like if you have a business like Trulieve, right? They're the ones that are going to be looked at, and they're going to be, the pluses and minuses are going to be weighed for some serious investment.
That sounds very convincing. Ed.
You look at some of these things; they're just shedding 1-2 cents here and there. I noticed Weed MD down to $1.12.
Okay, well, I'm looking at right now the whole list of. The Green Organic Dutchman put on 12.75% today. They're actually the best performing large cap stock, though. Let's see if they still qualify as a large cap here.
What's that, TGOD?
TGOD, market cap, 319 million.
That's a big number. $300 million is a market cap that, any mining company would... I guess you can't compare it to a mining company.
I was going to say, there's comparing apples and hippopotami.
Well, there's certainly a lot of revenue in T-Gut, isn't there?
Yeah. Did you quit drinking or something? You're awfully sparky today. It's like if
so I'm not sparky. I've been drinking.
Well, let's just say you're a little bit more.
I thought if you drank something, it would extinguish the spark.
Well, that's exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, good point. Well, I'm not that swift anyway.
Acreage Holdings down to $5.92 a share.
That was a $25 item, wasn't it?
Here's the funny thing. Like our coverage universe of cannabis companies who are willing to come on the show and discuss the state of their company and or the industry, have you noticed that they are not accepting our invitations anymore?
Pity.
Yeah.
Now, are you telling me that perhaps some of these people, the tail is between their legs and they're not sort of like walking around all puffed up?
Well, I mean, it's interesting to me that there's no effort to, you know, if a CEO of a company feels his stock is unfairly undervalued, they're looking to get on every media source that will give them the time of day, so they can, you know, try to reverse the trend. There's nobody banging on our door and saying, "Can we get an interview?" Because we've got, you know, there's nobody willing to come and tell us a better story than the one we tell here every day, which is one of tales of woe. And so, even the industry itself seems to believe that this is not going to let up anytime soon.
I think it's Katie bar the door.
Katie bar the door.
Yeah,
Have you seen the Spoon Lady on YouTube? The Spoon Lady.
No.
I'm going to pull that up quickly because this is what I think everybody is better off spending their time doing rather than paying attention to the... oh, where'd she go?
Is she like dressed up as a spoon?
No. I'll show you. It's very entertaining. Spoon Lady, here we go. Here, this song right here.
Oh, she plays the spoons.
Yeah.
I love this.
This is the cannabis market for the next year.
Getting her spoons clean.
It's getting ready to go. Oh, a little foot percussion there.
Whew. Wow, that's impressive.
Isn't that?
Yeah. I've always wanted to play the spoons. I thought if I could only come back, yeah, I'd want to play the spoons. She looks like she's no stranger to getting her hands dirty.
No.
Getting her hands dirty, I said.
Okay.
Like she just looks like she's ready to she looks like she's willing to climb a tree, fix a car. You know, she looks like she's
handy.
Yeah. She's like a handy woman.
Yeah.
Handy.
Third sure she lives down in the south. I'd love to meet her. Anyway, she's got another video where she actually teaches you how to play the spoons. And it's so simple that you think like, boy, I must be really dumb if I can't play the spoons because
everybody can play the spoons.
I can't.
Well, I forgot today.
I even took a course.
I knew how to do it until today.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
You asked. I said it was easy to play them. But
we get a couple of spoons out here, please. We're going to have we need 4 spoons. Large, please. Yeah, we're going to have a spoon session. We're going to try to play along with that song.
I'm going to practice this weekend, okay?
You want to practice?
This weekend. We'll do it Monday.
Practice, all right. All right, so in the meantime, we're going to have a quick chat with our old friend, Bruce Campbell.
Wait a minute, I'm hearing a message here from on high.
God is speaking to me.
What? You're saying?
2 more tot.
Don't go there.
2 more charts, Ed.
2 more
Let's
charts.
Look at the...
S&P.
Let's look at...
S&P.
And how about the...
S&P.
And after that, maybe the...
S&P.
This is sounding like a S&P kind of day.
Remember, like I said, there's the S and the P, or the...
I can't remember.
Well, look at this. Look at this. Okay, here we go. And I think it's important we go back. Go back.
What's the time frame there?
Well, we're going to put the 6 month up.
Maybe.
How come this isn't working?
I don't know. Things are freezing left, right, and center here. Maybe it's the internet.
Maybe. There's the 6 month.
Okay, there we go.
So recall, and somebody pay the...
Oh, you just keep going on the chart there.
Okay.
Ed. I'll be in charge of spoons.
I want to look at here's the high. Here's the consolidation in August. And then Charting Man Dan, listen, I'm being interrupted here.
No, I'm not interrupting.
Charting Man Dan, we broke out of that pattern.
What? You can't have...
I want to go work. I want to go work in the Ozarks. Okay. So there was the high. This was a failed test. We went back into this consolidation here, and now we're back through it. And Dan said all along,
Who's Dan?
Dan, the Charting Man.
Oh, Charting Man Dan.
And I happen to agree with his synopsis or his. Oh yeah, that's good. Now what would happen here?
Where'd the chart go?
You know what happened?
I don't know.
My battery's dead. How could that be?
Your battery's dead?
It's dead.
Why?
Because I guess it wasn't charged.
Your computer battery?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so now we're in trouble.
Really? Now what are we going to do? I know
what I'm going to do. I'm
going
to get the charger.
Okay, you do that, and I'll pull up.
Okay.
See, I'm going to look at gold.
I'm going to disappear here.
Oh. Okay. Actually, before we do that, let's have a quick chat with Bruce Campbell, and then we'll come back and play the spoons. Bruce Campbell joins me now. He's a portfolio manager with StoneCastle Asset Management, and he's here to deliver the weekly StoneCastle Cannabis Week Report. Bruce, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me in. Another good day to talk about pot stocks, right?
Well, I got to think that it's the equivalent of sort of scratching a scab. It just keeps getting worse and worse the more you scratch, but we can't help it.
Yeah, it's like 2001 in technology.
2001. Ooh. That suggests we've hit the bottom and we're bouncing back almost.
Well, we're starting to see a few signs of that from some of the technical indicators that we watch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What gives... So do you actually feel that we might be sort of at the bottom? Or do you think that there could be another leg down, as a lot of people are suggesting?
I certainly think that we're close. Obviously there's going to be pressure from tax loss selling that could occur over the next month here, or I guess more like 6 weeks. But we are seeing some technical signs that are encouraging. We saw these technical signs as well at the end of August, and obviously we saw another down leg from there. But we are starting to see these technical signs again. If you look at kind of individual stock charts and some of the technicals that we track, you're starting to see a weakening in the downside momentum. So that's all we're really seeing at this point in time. It's not any like raw, like we're going to take off and go to the moon, but you need that first, right? Especially with all the damage that's been done. You probably have to have a period where, the momentum just is neutral, if anything, before you could potentially get a catalyst, which, probably comes at the end of that tax loss selling and probably comes with, maybe that Cannabis 2.0 or the SAFE Act in the US.
Right. Okay, and so the the Curaleaf and Select deal is being repriced. What's the implications of that?
Well, obviously, if you were a Select shareholder, then you're going to get less. It was about I think close to $500 million less that they're offering. And so, that's significant for that deal. But also we look at it with some of the other deals. So if you look at the Origin House and Cresco deal, that spread has blown out. So it seems like the market's anticipating that there's going to be a reprice on that deal as well. So, now with these deals that were announced that got held up by, the antitrust regulations in the US, it seems like the market thinks that they could be repriced. And if you're a manager or you're CEO of a company that made that deal, you probably have a pretty strong case to go back and say, yeah, we have a deal, but look at the multiples, and depending on what your break fee is, you might go and exercise that, or else just try to renegotiate the deal.
Right. So one of the other big companies that actually has 3 transactions that were under scrutiny from the Department of Justice was Harvest Health and Recreation. Have you been following that story?
We have, yeah. I mean, there hasn't been anything from a repricing standpoint there, but certainly the market is concerned that could be what we see going forward. Right.
So what do you think the effect of this could be on the Origin House Cresco Labs transaction?
Well, you've already seen the Origin House. It's dropped. Like if you look at sort of historically where that spread was, it was as tight. It was kind of 16% to begin with, and it tightened up to kind of in the sort of 7-8% range, and now it's blown back out, so it's 34%. So the market's telling you something. There's people voting with their stock, and they're saying that they think it will be repriced here. And I mean that would make sense given how much damage has been done and what the valuations look like compared to when they signed the deal.
So Hexo is obviously a company that's suffered some downturn, and as a result they've closed down their Beamsville facility, which they just paid over $200 million for not so long ago, and that seems to be indicative of further pain in the sector to come, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of issues there. Obviously the first is that, as you mentioned, they just paid, a large sum of money for this not too long ago, and the asset value versus what they paid are two different things. And so, there's going to be some impairments at some point in time, not just with Hexo, but with a number of other companies that the investors are concerned about, and how much of that's been built into the stock prices. I think there's certainly some, but those discussions will happen with auditors at the end of this year and maybe even next year. So, there's going to be potentially some overhang there. How much of that's been built in, I don't know. That's one of those things that we won't know until kind of it happens. So that's issue number one. But number two is that, we took a look at production capacity in Canada, and we took a look and thought that, based on what we see from funded and in completion, there's probably somewhere around 3 million kilograms of capacity that's going to come into the system. And at the same time, if you look at some of the other reports that have been published by, the accountants or the different investment firms, they think that, the number that is going to be consumed is only somewhere around 1 million. So there's a pretty significant difference between those two. Obviously, some of it will go offshore, but, not all of it will. And so as a result, we could continue to see price compression. We could see more facilities like this Hexo one that could potentially be shut down in the future.
You bet. So there seems to be a lot of things happening that are arguably not so great for the LPs and are good for the black market. Quebec moving the legal age to 21 is a case in point. What kind of impact? I mean, is that just heaping pain on misery?
It sure seems to, from my perspective. One of the big policy reasons for this cannabis legalization was to get it out of the black market and get it into a legalized market. And this seems to be driving it the other way. If you're under 21 in Quebec, well, now you don't have access to it. You're going to just go back to the black market. So it seems like a step backwards to moving towards trying to reduce the consumption from the black market.
Sure. Okay, and Canopy Growth Corp released of a bunch of product SKUs. What does that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, they did sort of a little show for the media, and they had, a number of different products. They had, some sparkling waters, they had, edibles, all kinds of different products. So it just shows you, kind of what they've done behind the scenes as far as development goes, what they're ready to roll out. And that is, again, we've talked about the conversion from, sort of the mainstream population who haven't used cannabis probably since they were in high school to now using it in a completely different delivery format, and, getting it, being able to pick their experience and deliver that in some other format than, lighting a dried flower on fire.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? And celebrities seem to be getting more and more into the mix. We had Rob Gronkowski yesterday here. Greg Norman is getting into the CBD game. Do you think that's going to be sort of a prerequisite differentiator for CBD companies as they try to elbow each other out of the limited environment market?
Well, it certainly seems like that's how they're trying to differentiate. I mean, you think about, just as an example, in the, sort of the topical pain cream area, Icy Hot, has Shaq as their spokesman, and I think most people would probably associate that with Shaq with that product, and it's the same with this. They're trying to look for celebrity endorsements, and in Greg Norman's case, he's actually getting into the the business with partners as well, just like with the Gronk. That's gonna continue to be their differentiation. If they can, sort of hook their name to that, then I think it goes further. I'm quite surprised that given that I think her baby shower, Kim Kardashian, had CBD products, that she hasn't done something along those lines yet in a big way, partnering up. But I'm sure that's only will happen in time, right?
Right, no kidding. Saskatchewan is eliminating the lottery from the dispensary acquisition game. Do you think that's a good move on their part, and should Ontario follow?
Well, certainly that's been one of the, if you talk to any LP, that's their real pinch point, right? Is the fact that they haven't been able to distribute the product the way they want it because there's not any stores. Alberta's done a good job of that, but the rest of the country, specifically BC and Ontario, have done a horrible job. So, if everyone opened that up and it just went free competition, yeah, you have to go through the regulations, but if you want to apply, you can. then that's going to certainly bring the amount of cannabis to the public and be on, sort of every street corner like liquor is now. Then it's going to have a probably significant impact. So we saw Saskatchewan make that move. They've also been pretty progressive in Saskatchewan with the online sales, but now we really need to see BC and Ontario do it, and then maybe at that point in time you're going to start to see that wave or that flood of products starting to hit the shelves, especially with the new 2.0 products, and that's going to really drive the sales of some of these LPs.
Yeah. All right, Bruce. Well, as usual, awesome conversation, and we'll look forward to having you back here again next week. Thanks for joining me today.
Okay, have a great weekend.
You too. Deepwal Klaus joins me now. He's the CEO and founder of Cannamerx. Deepwal, welcome back.
Yes, thank you. Pleasure to be here again.
Deepwal, I look at the email that I get from your company and I think to myself, there is the future of the cannabis industry. Tell us, give us an overview of what Cannamerx does, just for those who haven't heard about the company before.
Cannamerx is a trading platform for commodity level cannabis and hemp extracts. Fundamentally, think about it, we help you trade the raw material, the green stuff, and the stuff that can be used as ingredients, the extracts, the isolates, whether it's the oil, whether it is the distillate or the isolate. You can put them on the platform and people can bid on it. So it's not like the stock market where you have a bid and ask process. It is the people who have product available put on the platform. If there's no product available, people can ask us to ask our participants who has something available. This way we ask them, people are looking for this kind of product, put it on, see if it sells, because it may not be the right price. And what stops a deal, what stops from something selling is it's not the right product, it's not the right time, it's not the right price. But if it is the right price and the right time and the right product, people will bid on it and buy it. So whoever makes the best offer gets the product.
Okay. So it's only licensed producer to licensed producer currently?
Yes, if you're not licensed by Health Canada to trade in the products that you want to trade in, you can't do it.
So you have to get a specific license to trade?
No. You have to be a licensed producer, you have to be a licensed processor, you have to be a microgrow, for example. You simply have to have a license from Health Canada to be authorized to possess the kind of products that are traded on the platform.
Sure. And so the thing I love about your platform is that it gives you a chance to observe how the market will evolve.
Yes.
And so one of the questions that I've always been thinking, the next time I see Deepwal, I'm going to ask him is, does the industry or does the transactions that happen on your platform, is there a very high sensitivity to the quality of the product? And when I say quality, I don't just mean THC and CBD content, but also terpene profile, flavor profile, burning profile. Like, are all those considerations brought to bear on a sale, or do people more or less just take a commodity approach to it and say, well, it's got this quantity of THC and CBD, that's what I'm after?
It depends on the product. It depends what you want to do with it. If you simply want to extract, you simply look for a reasonably priced, reasonably high cannabinoid content product that makes sense for you to buy, so you buy that. If you want to sell a nice bud, something that is beautiful, that appeals to the consumer, and you buy it for that, then you look at these factors. And the platform allows you to make the decisions on any factor that you choose. You can do it just by the overview. Yes, it has the right cannabinoid profile, it has the right price, it's a good volume, that makes sense. It has no pesticide, it has no micro contamination or other contamination. It's a fine product, I can put it through my extractor and have a good output. That's fine too. So it really depends on what it is you're looking for, what it is you're selling. The platform is very flexible in that way. We may have very few preconceptions about what people want to trade in. We simply facilitate the trade that the industry wants to engage in.
Okay. So I can ask you with full confidence that your answer is the authority. What is the average selling price per kilogram, let's call it, of CBD isolate?
It depends.
Okay, so that's like how long is a piece of string?
It's for example, in Canada, CBD isolate is extraordinarily expensive compared to the United States. Why? Because there's a very little supply. Basically, there's no imports into Canada of significant commercial quantities or any quantities that would alleviate the price difference. So the US market is different from the Canadian market, it's different from the European market, and you can see all the price developments in all these markets on the platform, but you're limited to what you can do based on your license and based on the license of the counterparty.
So you can't import cannabis from the United States, for example?
No.
And the United States can't import cannabis from Canada?
Correct.
So these barriers are kind of like an anomaly in the global trade of products.
Yes.
Everything else can cross borders.
Correct.
And in fact, that's what a free trade market means, is everything
Correct.
crosses borders. So are these price discrepancies a temporary phenomenon?
What's temporary?
Well, like
Next week? No, they will be here next week. Next
Sure.
year. A lot depends on basically if the United States would decriminalize or even legalize cannabis. That would at least change things within the United States. Because you think about national borders, if you were active in the United States, you're limited within the state. And that is why you have an oversupply in Oregon and you have scarcity in New York State. I'm not sure if they have scarcity there, I'm just making up. If they were federally legalized, then these balances, these imbalances could be evened out, and a platform like Cannamerx would be very helpful in evening this out. Right now, if we were to trade in the United States, we would be limited for cannabis on a state-to-state level, for hemp, of course, because it is federally legal. We can do interstate transactions, and therefore we are going to the US, onboarding a lot of sellers and buyers into the system to the point that we can start having transactions there. But it's still early in the market.
You can go interstate in the US.
For hemp.
Just for hemp.
For hemp.
Right.
Yes, and it has to be hemp derived, and it cannot be hot. So if you even grow a hemp plant and your plant itself is just below the legal limit, and then you start concentrating it into the crude, in order for somebody to actually legally take possession of it, it has to be diluted down so it's not hot, and it has to be derived.
When you say hot, you mean it has too much THC?
It has too much THC in it. Exactly.
So if I was to create a CBD isolate at 100% with 0 THC, could that be interstate?
If it's made from hemp, yes.
If it's made from hemp. If you have a isolate that is 99.9999% pure CBD, how do you know what it's made from?
Records.
Records. Okay, so it relies on reporting.
Yes.
Okay, so basically there's no way they know where it comes from if there's nefarious forces at work.
Well, it's like in every business. If somebody is hell-bound on committing fraud, there's little you can do to stop them the first time. That's basically our approach to it. We do the best we can, the best as possible, to make sure that everybody on the platform plays by commercial rules, by legal requirements, by the terms of service of our platform. If somebody is really hell-bent on trying to commit a fraud, they can do it once.
Right.
If they do something that is untoward, that violates laws, that violates good business practice, that violates our terms of service, we kick them off. Mm-hmm. And they're still potentially liable for all kinds of damages, but we take them off. So that is one of the roles we see ourselves taking as well, is help clean up the supply chain over time by making sure that everybody on our platform has always performed as expected and follows all the rules, legal and just business rules. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, we kick them off, and we have done so. We have kicked companies, large companies, off our platform for doing things we consider bad business practices.
Okay.
It wasn't even illegal what they did. It was just bad business practice, and we found it would be hurtful to have them on our platform.
For example?
No.
No? Okay. Then let me ask you, what is the average selling price for a kilogram of, or let's say a gram of cannabis on your platform?
The average asking price is actually, right now, the cannabis market in Canada is in a strange space. We were at the time when we had a lot of demand for it, but not a lot of supply. Now we're getting to the phase where a lot of people are trying to sell more stuff, but the prices are still a little too high. So what we are seeing is a price decline. I think it's also based on expectations, because a lot of production capacity is coming on, and current prices do partially reflect future expectations of prices. So the kind of prices you could have gotten a year ago are no longer viable. There was a time where people
They're lower.
Much lower. There was a time ago when people were willing to pay $8 a gram, and that was earlier this year. Now, unless it's an exceptional product that is like really high quality, stuff that used to be $6 maybe a year ago, now you probably can only get $3 to $2 for it. But again, it's hard to compare because often it's flower, and flower is difficult to compare. It's not just the THC and CBD content, and that is also why on our platform, if you're a user, you don't just see average price data. You can look at all past transactions. You can see the COAs. You can see the pictures. And therefore, because there's an art to pricing, if you're in the industry and you fully understand what it is, looking not just at the price tags, which are very high level and average, you can look at what kind of product has sold at what price. So if you see something has sold at a high price, you can actually look at it. What was it that sold? And the COA is there. It's available. It never goes away. It's free data that all our users have access to.
Okay.
Back to the beginning.
So let me ask you this. If I was going to go into the cannabis business and I wanted to output the product that I could sell the most of, the easiest at any time during any year in any market, what would you guide me to produce?
I don't know.
Boy, for a fountain of information, you certainly are tight-lipped, I gotta say.
No, it is simply this. Never ask economists about the future, because we either get the future wrong or the timing.
Well, that's an excellent and diplomatic way to avoid the question. But I mean, can I ask you then? Is it within your interest to protect the information that I'm asking you for?
No, it would be irresponsible for me to make such a recommendation. Now, what I can say is, it is more about the business model. I cannot tell you what sells most and what makes money. It depends on what you're good at. So you see, right now, when the industry started, there was most of the companies were highly vertically integrated. They would grow, they would process, they would do everything internally. Why? There was no option, there was no alternative, there was no supply chain. Who would you buy supplies from in last year? Right, when it came on. Who would you get your legal supplies from? Where would you get your extracts from? It just wasn't there. You had to do everything internally. And vertical integration has the advantage you have a significant amount of control over what you do as far as you can control it. But the more things you do, the harder it becomes to control. And people also had to figure out, I believe, to learn what they're really good at. They had to do everything to start with. I don't think there was an option. Some people criticize these companies, oh, it's foolish to become vertically integrated. Why did you do that? Well, because there was no alternative.
Right.
You had to.
Right.
Because just building a business that, we are going to buy product in order to fill our supply lines, from whom?
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting.
So right now what I'm seeing in the industry, and that is the model that CannaMarks is based on, is a point where it becomes a more normal industry. It's still far away from that because of trade barriers and the strict legal and the regulations are much stronger than the food industry, for example. But you get to the point where people are building business models where they tell us, we think because CannaMarks exists, we realize that we can just buy certain things. We don't have to grow our own flower. And unless you want to grow really awesome flower that people are willing to pay a premium for, and then you care about what it looks like, what it smells like, etc. If you want to make edibles, you want to make something vape or whatever, you need the cannabinoids, right? And the cannabinoids are cannabinoids. Whether the plant is a nice big thing or a little popcorn, what you really care about is the cannabinoid level. So as production ramps up, as the really high stress, low supply eases up, and we get to the point where it's the emergency situation in the supply, I think, is simmering down with lots of supply coming up. People start specializing and realize we're really good at this particular thing. Maybe one step back and one step forward to have a little bit of control, but maybe I'm a really good brand person. I'm a person who is really good coming up with beautiful flavors for edibles. Because I'm a baker, I'm a candy producer, that's what I'm good at.
Sure.
All I want to do is broaden my range of products and add some CBD to it or some THC or whatever. I don't want to build a greenhouse for that.
Right.
I'm a chocolate maker, I'm a candy maker.
Okay.
So I purchase the products, and I think this is what is increasingly happening, and I think a number of license companies who are vertically integrated right now, I see a quiet shift moving where they start specializing for a market where they don't have to do everything themselves, because I don't think they really want to.
Right, right. Okay, well, it sounds like the business is growing and
Yes.
CannaMarks is growing. Are you going to go public at some point?
You asked me that last time. It's too early to tell.
Okay, still too early.
Yes.
All right, Deepwal, that's great. Thank you for the update. We'll have you back
Yes.
soon. I'm playing the spoons here. Ed! What is it you say I look like I'm doing over here?
Beating your meat.
All right, everybody, there's our Friday show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, sign up anyways. We like you. We love you. Happy 1st of November.